Don't talk your way into a conviction. That, in a nutshell, is the advice that Southern California attorneys Mark and Craig Wasserman have been enthusiastically sharing with the cannabis community for more than 2 decades. They began specializing in cannabis law after Craig's son decided he wanted to get into the medical marijuana business in California's largely unregulated market, prior to full legalization under 2016's Prop. 64. Back then, medical marijuana was legal under state law, but many law enforcement agencies still went after patients and collectives. If a patient or provider was busted, they had to prove that their actions, be they growing, possessing or selling marijuana, were for the benefit of legitimate patients. That left people like Craig's son in jeopardy of arrest and prosecution. When he showed the interest, we decided we better go to bat. We better do our research and learn the laws as they existed then, says Craig in a telephone interview. And that's really when we stepped into the cannabis space. As they represented more patients and providers, it became clear to Mark and Craig that many interactions with law enforcement were made worse when people who had been stopped by the police inadvertently gave up their constitutional rights by saying more than the law required. The way that prosecutors get the convictions is when people say, "I smoked an hour ago, this is when I used my cannabis, even 24 hours ago," Mark explains. To protect their clients, Craig and Mark, who practice as the Pot Brothers at law, began advising them how to conduct themselves if they were stopped by the police. Over time, the suggestions developed into a copyrighted 25-word script. When properly employed, the brothers explained, these 4 short and easily memorized lines can help protect one's constitutional rights. Although the script was originally developed for medical marijuana patients and providers, the Wassermans say that anyone can use it to protect their rights. It might even prevent a DUI arrest for someone who may have been enjoying a little marijuana or alcohol but isn't necessarily impaired. To aid in understanding the script, during our interview the Pot Brothers at law ran through the 4 lines and explained why each is important. Here they are. If you've been stopped by the police, the first thing you should ask is why you've been pulled over. Under case law, police officers must complete traffic stops within a reasonable amount of time, so this question gets the clock ticking and moves the interaction along. Comply with requests for identification, registration, and insurance information, but refrain from engaging in casual conversation with the police. They want you to get comfortable talking and then who knows what you're going to say that's going to incriminate yourself, Craig says. The second line of the script allows you to preserve your rights to remain silent and not incriminate yourself.